My BF blames me for every issue in our relationship but won't accept his side of things. My 32F BF 27M seems to put everything on me in our relationship. I have a lot of trauma from my childhood that has left me with some poor communication skills and some emotionally immature habits that I am in therapy to work on. I've also started medication and really have tried and tried again to keep working on things. His main complaints are, I don't make him feel heard, I interrupt him during arguments, I have ADHD, but I have worked on this and improved. I don't pay full attention always when he's talking to me. I don't fix issues immediately when he expresses an issue. I don't respect him. He feels that I don't stand by him when he's angry. At the beginning, he didn't like that I had male friends, so I cut them all out, which he still resents me for having to ask. I don't take his advice or input always BC. I like to have all the facts first, so therefore I make him feel dumb. I don't make him feel bring him up. I cook for him, clean often. We split chores, only he does a couple on weekends when he's off. And I don't ask him to do much BC. He doesn't like to do a lot when he's off work, but I do stress sometimes how much I need help BC. I work 6 days a week. I get him gifts and little surprises, but he says I complain and nag him instead of just letting him do things. I don't trust him. I've had issues with trust since the beginning, and he has always been protective of his phone, and it's been triggering for me, but he just says he doesn't like the invasion of privacy and the assumption that we should just be open that way without actual trust. I know I do have issues with this, but I do want some reassurance and kindness in this area so I can feel validated and heal. Instead, I get a fight, everything I express an insecurity. BC of these issues, anything that happens or any argument we get in, he expresses that he's done with this mess and he can't do it anymore. He always says how unhappy he is and how I've never made him feel loved. Last night we got into an argument with the neighbor BC. I went over there to ask them to turn the music down after I knocked on the walls a couple times, which I admit was wrong. I should have just gone over there. But he didn't take the hint, so I did, and knocking pissed him off, so he was telling me that. My BF came over and escalated the situation to the point where they were about to start fighting. I did tell him I was going to go over there and say something so he wouldn't get involved. He had a temper, and I don't want to get kicked up of my apartment. He stays here with me, and I don't want to cause any issues, so I told him to back off and let me handle it. BC, they were about to throw hands in front of this guy's kids at midnight almost, and that's embarrassing. I cannot handle violence and that kind of situation well, so I try to de-escalate it. All I wanted to do was sleep. It got so out of hand after we left that he said he didn't want to talk to me. He was done and had nothing left to say to me, and he had lost any respect he had left for me. He says I never act like a united front, and he usually says that in moments of acting like this where he pops off. He said really hurtful things, but he did ask me to leave him alone, and I should have. Granted, this was all over text as he sat in the office after he left for a while. He's done with me, and I have shown him who I am and what I think of him and how I don't respect him, and when I try to stand up for myself, he says I picked a great time to start doing that. I ask him in moments why he acts like he hates me or why he gets so angry, and he always says, "Why don't you focus on what makes me hate you?" or "Why you make me angry," and how I never focus on the issue even though I'm sitting there trying to. I just don't understand. He always says how unhappy he is and how I make him feel miserable, and I have never made him feel loved and never felt respected. I just feel completely lost, and I care for him so deeply, and I hate to see him feeling so sad and lonely. But I'm lost. BC, I'm feeling hopeless and sad and lonely, and I don't know what to do anymore. Relationships have two sides, and if I'm making him feel so badly and I'm feeling so badly, what do I even do? Why does he still stick around if he really feels these ways about me? Now to the next story, story 2. Best friend in an abusive relationship with ex. My 21F best friend, 20F, has a complicated relationship with her ex, 21M. For context, they dated for like a year since high school and broke up after they both moved abroad, and he started living with her in her accommodation which her father is providing for her during her college, and he was living there for free. They broke up due to him being controlling, but since he had no place to go, he continued living with her. They both decided to go see other people in order to move on from each other, but respecting boundaries. Not talking about who they are seeing or bringing them back to their place. But obviously it turned to become very toxic since they both are hung up on each other and live together. They are both basically doing all relationship stuff like sleeping together, etc., but without commitment. But then when we became friends in club, she used to insist me coming back over with her for a while since her ex would go out with his guy friends and she couldn't sit alone and worry about him. She didn't really have any other friends after their breakup, so she started going out herself to take her mind off of him. When I came into the picture, and the more I saw, the more I realized how horrible this arrangement is. He would be gone all day and won't come back before 5 to 6 a.m. She would be anxious about what he is doing with other women and all. She loaned him money time to time for ridiculous stuff like shopping, clubbing, food, etc., on top of him living rent-free in her studio, which costs around £2,000 per month. Now she has a thing that she needs distraction to move on from stuff. So this one guy who was interested her reached and she started entertaining him but made her intentions clear, though I feel like she kind of led him on a bit time to time. Now the worst part, this guy has a history of love bombing and discarding women and is a pathological liar, which we got to know again. And again, he was overall toxic. We would meet him in parties, and he would make everyone uncomfortable. Now her ex got to know about this guy, and he would constantly fight with her almost every single day and be verbally abusive to the point of her calling me crying. Her ex threats her a lot, and oftentimes I have come to her studio to her stuff broken, and sometimes he pushes her or holds her very tight and then apologizes after cooling down. This went on for almost 2 to 3 months when she got sick of the other guy since he was not worth all the drama and toxicity and broke things off with him. But her ex couldn't let go of it and will always say stuff like, "At least you got someone, I didn't get anyone," and all in guilting her to set him up with some girls, knowing she is super uncomfortable. They fought a lot and he broke a lot of her stuff, and I try to talk some sense into her all the time, but she just can't leave him. Don't get me wrong, my friend is also a bit toxic, and her cousin who lives in the same city never sided with her until one time I came back to my country for vacation and they had a fight because he brought back a girl and cuddled with her in their accommodation, and he got angry and pulled her from her hair in front of her. I got furious at this point and told her to just leave, it's high time, and she assured me he won't do it again, and I couldn't win with her. I just gave an ultimatum that next time I am informing her parents. They are strict and have no idea about anything. Fast forward today, we were playing online game with me, her old best friend, and her ex. He wouldn't stop arguing with everyone in chat, and I would argue back. He got mad and left the game in between. Her friend then called me and said there's no point of arguing with him or talking any sense into her because she has been doing it for ages. She said that she used to argue with him so much that they stopped talking at one point and recently started talking again. She said she doesn't interfere at all anymore because he would just take all the frustration out on our friend, and she would still keep giving him chances, so it's not good for her mental peace, and it's better I do the same. I agree with her on this strongly because I have tried talking sense into her infinite times and taught her time to time about how stupid she is tolerating all this, and she would only admit that she is in fact stupid and laugh. Her respects me but also gets annoyed because I am not as tolerating as her, and I talk back if he makes any stupid remarks and defend her. Now my problem is that I care a great deal about her, and I personally have some serious anger issues for which I am taking therapy, and it's getting very difficult for me to oversee all this and not do anything. I would appreciate any advice.